the last of the day one sessions, and the Rio is jam-packed with superstars, all looking to take their first steps towards a main event championship. But two men stand out from within this massive crowd. The youngest man to win a main event, Phil Hellmuth.
Hellmuth wins the championship.
I absolutely feel like I can do it again.
And the defending champion, Jerry Yang. Will Hellmuth's past success lead to a return to glory?
You better stand up.
Yes!
That's what champions do.
Or is this the year for a repeat performance?
I'm hoping to win back-to-back. I think it's way overdue.
Tonight, poker's best will take center stage at the main event of the World Series of Poker.
Shuffle up and deal.
Welcome to the World Series of Poker presented by Milwaukee's Best Light with Norman Chan. I'm Lon McCarran. Put on your Sunday finest because here come the heavyweights. This final day one session features some of the most familiar faces in poker.
Good luck there, buddy.
How you doing, guys?
How'd you like to sit down at your first main event table and look up to see Chris Ferguson, maybe Alan Cunningham, or Jennifer Harmon sitting right next to you? And if you're seated at table 2 today, you'll be up against the great Phil Ivey. You never know who you're going to see at the World Series of Poker.
I love you, Norm. I want to be your next wife. I won't take your alimony. I have my own money. I'm going to have my own money.
I don't know if I have another honeymoon in me.
From an open invitation to an open seat at the featured table today, fashionably late Phil Hellmuth should be here any moment. And when he gets here, Phil will be in for a surprise. He will be up against poker pro Mark Safe, a two-time World Series bracelet winner, and Chuck Liddell, the former UFC light heavyweight champ, who is hoping to knock out more than just one opponent today.
How much can we pay you to knock him out?
I was just going to say that.
I don't know. He might loosen himself if we could just leave him alone.
That's right. It might be a freebie.
It might be a freebie, yeah.
Let me knock him out, take his chips.
Jeez, my boy Phil is walking into Little Bighorn here.
Liddell with 13 knockout wins on his mixed martial arts record. Mark Safe folds.
This guy's not going to knock out Phil. Steve
Rector from Mesa, Arizona on the Milwaukee's Best Light Pocket Cam 6-5 of spades. He's a district manager for an electric company down there.
She's not going to knock out Phil.
That's because Kathleen Gleave is going to fold.
This guy thinks he's going to knock out Phil, but he's not.
Paul Sohn folds.
Oh, this guy looks dangerous.
Grady Talbot. He's a retired Air Force pilot, and he is dangerous with pocket queens in the small blind.
Come on.
He calls for 250.
You're supposed to re-raise there, sir. I call him sir because I respect him.
Is this guy going to knock out Phil Hellmuth?
If he shakes hands with Phil, Hellmuth might go down.
Liddell with 8-7 of spades calls. 3 players will see the flop. Talbot with his pocket queens has the lead right now. Flop is 9 trade jack. Talbot's queens are still best. Liddell picked up a gut shot straight draw. Talbot checks.
Yeah, it's up to you, tough guy.
Liddell admits he's not the most polished poker player.
Can I bet 600?
600. Spit it out.
600 from Liddell. Rector gives up his hand. Talbot's going to raise it to 1,500.
I told you that fellow was dangerous. He just check-raised Chuck Liddell.
And Chuck's going to call. He's not shying away from anything.
I don't want to rile up Chuck Liddell, but how's he calling with a gut shot?
All right, so heads up now to the turn. Turn card is a 10, and Liddell takes the lead, hitting a straight.
It's a good thing Liddell didn't hit that straight against Hellmuth.
Talbot, though, will lead out with a straight draw. That could beat Liddell. Bets 3,000.
Yeah, that's a straight, Chuck.
I'm all in.
Oh, he does the right thing with a straight.
Smarter than he looks.
So Liddell pushes. Talbot calls for under 2,000 more. And yeah, Chuck's in the lead.
Chuck looks like a little kid who got away with something.
Well, you got a duck to prevent the knockout, you know?
Talbot can still make a higher straight. He can knock out Liddell with an 8 or a king.
River card is a queen. Liddell will double up with the straight.
You're still going to win, Chuck. You win.
Not quite sure.
You had to dodge an 8 or a king.
Oh, Phil's going to love playing with someone who doesn't even know he just doubled up.
So Liddell, as usual, made the gut shot work for him, and he's back on his feet. Norman, we often talk about the mixed bag of people and personalities found in poker, and that is evident at our featured table and throughout the room. This is shaping up to be an action-packed final day of the opening round here at the main event.
What a day, Lon. A chance to watch my main man, Phil Ivey. Don't let me down. A chance to track legends Doral Brunson and Johnny Chan. A chance to watch Jerry Yang start defense of his main event title. And a chance to see if Chuck Liddell beats the you-know-what out of Phil Hellmuth. Today is a very good day.
And today is a very busy day, the largest field by far of the 4 day one sessions. There are more than 2,400 players in action today. And there is Johnny Chan, winner of 2 main events. He's got 10 bracelets overall. At Chan's table is Forrest Griffin, another UFC fighter who won a title fight last night here in Vegas.
2 champions here, but this is Johnny Chan's cage.
Forrest Griffin continues his win streak, picks up a pot there with a set of 7s.
Forrest Griffin won the fight last night. What's the other guy look like?
How long you been playing poker? About an hour. It's the same with fighting, you know. If you're fighting somebody that really doesn't know what's going on, they kind of don't do anything right. So you don't really know what to do. Guy that doesn't know how to play poker is kind of like... He definitely played the 7s well.
Yeah, despite getting knocked around last night, Griffin's still thinking straight. Doral Brunson's also playing today, another 2-time main event champion, owner of 10 bracelets.
Like Johnny Chan, Texas Dolly won his main event bracelets back-to-back.
And last year's champion, Jerry Yang, of course, is playing today, hoping to become the 5th man to go back-to-back.
Yang beat a field of 6,358 last year. This year's field, 6,844.
And Jerry's off to a good start as he knocks off an opponent.
You man. You man. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, let's check on the action at table 2, where Phil Ivey, your guy, is looking to cash in the main event for the first time since 05.
Ivey's been quiet at the main event the last couple of years. It's time for him to make some noise.
After the flop, Ivey with an up and down straight draw. David Clark with a gut shot straight draw. Tony Vu, though, leads with pocket kings. A king on the turn. That makes a set for Vu. Clark with a pair of kings and a nut flush draw. Clark checks to Ivey now with his straight draw. Ivey is going to try to buy it with 6,000.
Yeah, there's a possible flush and a possible straight on that board now. Ivey has neither. He has what we call a 7% hand. Vu hit trip kings and seems worried.
It'll cost him 6,000 to call Ivey's bet. And he calls with his set. Clark also calls.
Clark with the pair of kings, and of course, as you said, he's drawing to the nut flush and the nut straight.
It's an ace on the river. Vu with a set of kings earns the check mark. Clark now with aces up.
That ace is another scare card. Anyone with a queen would have the nut straight, and nobody has the queen.
Clark checks it cautiously.
Ivey now can either bluff at this again or give up on it. I would prefer that he give up on it. No, Phil. No.
Sorry. 12,000 from Ivey.
12,000 with Squadouche, and he's got the World Series rookie talking to himself. Vu's got the best hand. You know, what helps Ivey at this moment is that Vu also has to worry about Clark behind him. But this bluff isn't going to hold.
Wow. Vu's going to give up his 3 kings.
Vu coughs up the best hand.
Not happy about it.
Yeah, Vu will be even more disgusted if Clark calls Ivey and he sees their hands.
So the check mark transfers to Clark with aces up.
Well, Ivey trying to swaggle foos this table. What a scoundrel.
That's your guy.
My man.
And Clark folds.
This is why I'm with Phil Ivey.
The bluff works for Phil Ivey.
Wherever Phil Ivey goes, I will follow. He is the man. Vu bluffed into oblivion.
Still not convinced he did the right thing, but for Phil Ivey, it's good to be Phil Ivey.
The boardroom table and the poker table. The only difference between them is a layer of felt. At these tables, we go all in. We're fully leveraged. Reading risk and reward here isn't much different than reading it on a spreadsheet. We play because poker's like business, without the conference calls. The office may close at 6, but there's a game that's always open. We play at FullTiltPoker.com.
The 2008 World Series of Poker, presented by Milwaukee's Best Light. Main event.
Welcome back inside the Rio, where the room is abuzz with more than $9 million going to to the winner, but one person who was notably quieter than usual, Havad Khan. He finished 6th in last year's main event, but first in self-congratulations. We never got used to hearing Havad scream, but at least we knew where he was in the room. And so far this year, he seems to be a little toned down.
Indeed, it appears as if someone sedated him. Remember what they did to Jack Nicholson in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest?
As for the man who outlasted Havad and everyone else last year, Jerry Yang hooked up in a hand right now, but his stack looking a little short. And now he's been put to the ultimate decision.
Kidding me. What? Oh, boy. This is a very, very tough laydown. God, I can't believe I'm laying this hand down. I can't believe it.
Jerry doesn't look as tough without 40 or 50 million chips in front of him.
Yang folds and loses a big pot.
We still have a shot. We still have a chance to come back. No need to be risky.
So things not breaking Jerry's way so far today. A stark contrast to the dominating performance in 2007 we saw from the social worker turned main event champion.
Actually, I'm still shocked. You know, sometimes I would look at my bracelet and I say, wow, this is really real.
It's a Jerry Yang title win. You just gotta seek shelter.
I have been studying my opponents very, very closely and like a hawk. I noticed that they were playing a little tight. 4 million.
Wow. Jerry is a betting machine.
And say, you know what? I am going to be the aggressor. Hooray. I'm all in.
And Yang comes over the top. Wow.
You know, I think I succeeded and I was able to pick up some good hands actually.
The river card is a 6. Jerry Yang is the 2007 world champion.
And I saw the 6 on the river. The first person that I saw was my brother-in-law, and I jumped in. That particular hug was for me.
An American dream come true for Jerry Yang.
Yes! The hug that I gave to my wife was really a hug for her, actually. You know, I just want to let her know that, hey, you know what? We made it. We made it.
Yang says he'll play differently at the 08 main event than what we saw at the 07 final table. Then again, he's got a lot of people looking over his shoulder this year. What a nice man.
Jerry Yang trying to go back-to-back with main event championships. Let's take a look on the E-Trade Financial Tournament ticker and see the elite group of men who have won 2 main events in a row. Johnny Moss, Doyle Brunson, Stu Unger, and Johnny Chan.
20 years ago, Chan beat Fields of 152 and 167.
And the man who denied Johnny's 3 in a row and beat him heads up, Phil Hellmuth, still absent from this year's tournament for the moment.
I'm trying to hang around until Phil shows up.
Just do what Phil does, fold every hand for hours on end.
All right, action continues with Gil George from Dallas, makes his living in commercial real estate. Ace Jack. He raises to 225. Liddell now.
Raise
6 deuce.
If you play 6 deuce, you might not make it till Phil gets here.
Daniel Del Biagio from Ferndale owns a dairy there in California, Pocket Jacks.
Well, it's always been a dream of mine to own a dairy.
Mark Safe with Ace King. This pro won 2 bracelets in 2005.
900 total.
It's going to make it 900 to play. George folds.
George did the smart thing.
Liddell's going to call with 6 deuce.
Liddell does not do the smart thing.
Del Biagio with his jacks.
The dairy guy's got to play.
Makes the call. So 3 players to the flop. Flop is ace 6-10. Safe with top pair. Liddell paired his 6. He's first to act.
Check.
Check, check. The pro's not going to check. 2,000.
Safe bets 2/3 the size of the pot. You know, I think Chuck's waiting for a bell to ring every time before he acts.
He's going to call for 2,000. A pair of 6s. And with jacks, Del Biagio will stick around.
Everybody with a pair, safe in command.
Turn card now is a deuce, and Liddell hits 2 pair and takes the lead.
You know, so far, anytime Chuck checks his cards again, he's improved his hand.
A tail on Liddell. He checks, Del Biagio checks. Safe now. Pair of aces, which are no good right now, but he bets 3,200.
Yeah, but he's got to believe his aces are good.
Liddell calls. Del Biagio folds his 2 jacks. Heads up now.
Got anything, Chuck?
He's got 6-2, and there's a 6-2 on the board, and Chuck knows that adds up to 16.
All right, now the river card. Liddell, way ahead. A 7. Liddell now earns the check mark with 2 pair.
Oh, all in, I guess.
All in. Safe will need about 5,000 to call.
He said he's all in?
Yeah.
He said he's all in, I guess.
I got something.
You got something?
I don't know what. You might have something better, but. Do you want to know what I have?
I think I got the pot too big here. I think I'll probably have to call you, Chuck.
It's fine with me. If you need 2 pair, you're all right.
Really?
Really?
Would Chuck lie? No.
You really have 2 pair?
Yeah.
Damn it, I believe you too.
This is inappropriate talk, but what the heck?
You wouldn't lie to me, right? I wouldn't lie to you.
Unless you kick his
Only thing is we can't discuss our hands, guys.
The tournament official gently warning Liddell to zip it up.
You're like, he asked, right?
What?
He asked, right?
Yeah, but you're not allowed to tell others what you have. Look, Mark, that's an honest face.
All right. I call Chuck.
Call him.
Mark calls. He's got 2 pair.
He told him he had 2 pair.
That's right. You win.
Liddell torments Mark Safe right here.
I won't lie to you, man.
A tough hand for Mark Safe. Wasn't quite sure how to handle the light heavyweight champion, but a nice, honest double up for Chuck Liddell, and it looks like Phil Hellmuth will have his hands full whenever he gets here.
I'm Chuck Liddell, the Iceman, in a fight for the UFC. Former light heavyweight champion. Yeah, I'm pretty low-key, but I hit hard.
And it looks like it's going to get a little hotter in here for the Iceman because Phil Hellmuth has arrived in uniform, no less.
Somebody pinch me, and I hope I wake up.
I think we should salute him. Sir!
You don't have to cheer for me. Cheer for the girls. Come on. The Iceman.
What's up, big man?
How you doing?
How you doing? I'm doing all right.
You're a bad man.
At least he's sane.
And by the way, I'm thinking about going to Afghanistan in December.
Really?
To visit the troops, yeah. Because I've never been in the military, I feel like I owe them something, you know?
We all owe them something.
Yeah, I feel like I owe them something, and if I can make one trip over there, you know, and host some poker tournaments for them and give them some DVDs and books, just one trip, I feel like I can maybe get even for life, you know?
They would love that.
Because the troops need to be supported.
Hellmuth in a war zone? That'll bring the troops home.
Phil, of course, won the main event back in 1989 with less than 200 entrants at that time. Now there are hundreds here just to watch the main event, and 2 of those fans are Phil Ivey's biggest supporters, Mel and Pat Humphreys, who've been following him for years with their homemade Ivey t-shirts all the way from Atlantic City.
They're nice people, but frankly, I think they just want money from Phil, and he's not going to give them a dime.
They have known Ivey since he played under the pseudonym Jerome in Atlantic City years ago. All right, elsewhere on the rail is Chris Moneymaker, the 2003 main event winner. Chris made it through his day 1 session, but he's back today to cheer on Donald Hobbs, who's making his first World Series appearance. He was injured in a devastating car accident. As a matter of fact, poker played a role in Donald's remarkable recovery with an assist from Moneymaker himself.
I broke my legs, my pelvis, my collarbone, my left arm. I got burnt from my right titty nipple down to my kneecap. That's crazy.
My job as an occupational therapist is to help people regain function and independence. I was asking him about the things that he enjoyed doing, and he was telling me that he liked to play cards. So I asked him who his favorite poker player is, and he said Chris Moneymaker, and his face lit up and he got all excited.
I'd watched him on TV here for a long time, and yeah, I watched him every year he won in 03.
So the word got back to Chris, and he was like, really? He was like, well, I'll go see him. So he did.
When I came to the hospital and he saw me standing there, and he just went, oh my God. And then this big old smile on his face.
I was blown away. I was like, God, I couldn't believe it. It was awesome.
And we played poker for straws, which he ended up killing me.
Yeah, I still got my straws at the house.
I promised when I was in the hospital with him that I would fly him out to the World Series so he could come watch me play. And in February, when I found out he was getting better, I decided, well, instead of flying him out here and letting him sit behind me and watch me play, I decided, well, I'm going to put him in the main event.
Words can't explain it. This just bloated out of water. I mean, it's a dream come true.
Donald says that he knows he has beaten the odds just by being here at the main event, but that's not going to stop him from playing to win. All right, let's get back over to our feature table and see how Phil Hellmuth has settled in next to Chuck Liddell.
Chuck's got some game, Phil. Be careful here. I'm just having fun playing with guys I watch on TV, that's all.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry, is he going to be in the Colonel Klink outfit all day?
No, I think he's going for the Patton-esque look, and I think he's got it. Mark safe now with ace-jack offsuit.
Safe 1-2 Hold'em bracelets in a 1-week span in 05.
Limps in for 200. Gil George now. Couple of deuces. And George makes the call. Liddell now mixing it up today.
Chuck loves action.
Jack 8. And Chuck's back in the ring.
Is there an adjustment I can make to my TV set?
The 11-star General folds. That's one for each bracelet, by the way. Over to Del Biagio. 9-5 from the big blind. He checks his options. 4 players in for the minimum.
Oh, Omar Bradley is calling. Probably wants his riding crop back.
Flop is 10, deuce, 9. That's a set of deuces for George. Del Biagio with a pair of 9s, checks. Safe, bets 200 with ace high.
Safe with nothing makes a next to nothing bet.
George with a set of deuces. Makes the call. Liddell's got a straight draw.
Make it 500.
And raises to 500. Del Biagio folds. Safe. A glutton for punishment calls.
Really? I guess he figures he can outplay Chuck to the finish line.
He hates to be a spectator. George is going to re-raise all in.
Well, Chuck's not the one that Safe has to worry about.
500, right?
Liddell next to act.
You made it 500? Is that right? Okay. I'm out. I fold.
Safe folds out of turn.
He's first, though.
He's first. Oh! Sorry.
Who's the pro? Who's the amateur here?
I don't want to pick a fight with him, but how can Liddell be thinking about calling here?
Liddell now would need to go all in to call this.
I hate to do this if I heard you. You know what? I'll just go all in.
He calls all in. And he's behind on the cards.
Yeah, Chuck goes all in on a draw, and he's in big trouble. He's 6'2", 205. And he's about to go down at the hands of a 62-year-old commercial real estate fella.
All right, turn card now is a 4. No help to Liddell.
Liddell looking for a straight. He needs a 7 or a queen, or he is knocked out of the main event.
River card is a king, and that's going to do it. Gil George wins the hand. TKO over Chuck Liddell.
Good playing with you, bud.
Good playing with you guys. Good luck in your fight,
Good job, man. I'll have to come by one of your fights soon.
Yeah, Chuck will leave you a ringside seat in Afghanistan.
So the light heavyweight is out.
Ladies and gentlemen, one of the best fighters in the world.
And the heavyweight is just getting started. Is tonight's Poker Fact brought to you by FullTiltPoker.net. There are nearly 20,000 possible flop combinations in Texas Hold'em. Memorize them and get back to us. We're back inside the Rio, but a top pro is on his way out.
Good luck, guys. Take care, Grady.
Mark Safe, 2-time bracelet winner, the latest to be eliminated.
If he's lucky, he can catch Chuck Liddell in the parking lot, play some liar's poker.
It's all about survival on day one here, and no one knows the meaning of that word better than Jean-Robert Belland, who appeared on Survivor China last year. At his table is another Iceman, Teddy Monroe, who's watching Jean-Robert in a hand right now.
Is that a string bet? Because his 500 was on his cards.
I think it's an all-in before I let go, Mike.
I think it's a string bet.
It's an all-in before I let go.
I'm just playing, bro. I re-raise you all in.
So Belland trying to vote somebody off the island here. And the tribe has spoken. The main event field is one man shorter.
Good tournament. A little bit unlucky to
All right, brother.
I knew I didn't like it.
I just went like you, baby. Don't worry about it.
Good luck.
All right, baby.
He had 500 left. That's so wrong.
Milan finished 8th on Survivor, but here at the main event, the 6,000-member Tribal Council is much tougher to get by. Also in the field today, actress turned poker pro Jen Tilley, the former Oscar nominee for Bullets Over Broadway, has won the ladies event here in 2005. Gives her one more World Series title than her boyfriend Phil Locke. Yeah, that's Phil Locke.
That's Phil Locke?
That's Phil Locke. Not quite himself today, though. For some reason, Phil has decided to show up in makeup.
Geez, he looks like Hume Cronin in Cocoon. Is that really him under there?
It's really him with pocket aces.
Nice jacket.
There's no prop bet we know of. He just decided to come dressed as an old man.
Nice jacket.
And someone else who was not quite himself today is Javad Khan, the online legend who was recognized last year as much for his celebrations as he was for his poker skills.
I tell you, we're talking frontal lobotomy here. Just look at him.
The wild celebrations are nowhere to be found. Rain Khan does seem eerily quiet 1 year later, even as he picks up a pot right there, but he does indeed have a good reason for this new reined-in approach at the main event.
Section 4, Rule 36. Excessive celebration. Through extended theatrics.
I play this game to win!
Or physical actions, gestures, or conduct. May be subject to penalty. Section 4, Rule 36. Also known as the Javad Khan Rule. Sure, I get some pride out of it. Hell yeah, I get pride out of it. It's awesome. I love watching it. I was like, man, I'm such an idiot. I was out of my mind when I did what I did.
Oh!
Yeah, honest, I think it was just all the pent-up, anger and frustration I had as like just grinding and never going out. And I finally got to, have my moment. I really don't care what the critics think.
I hate the bubble!
For what it's worth, they can say what they want about me. I don't care. What happened, happened.
I left my belt at the strip club to pull up my pants. I'm back.
There's no way I could ever replicate that. I got all of it out of me. That's it. Now I can play the game. I can appreciate the game for what it is as opposed to just getting out there and showing everybody my face. I think the rule was a good idea, and I'm glad they did it for the sake of everybody.
And so the quieter, gentler Javad Khan plays on. But let's now see if they can come up with the Phil Hellmuth rule. Hold on. Actually, there should be several Phil Hellmuth rules.
Back at the featured table, a few changes to note. Chris Moneymaker's #1 fan, Donald Hobbs, has settled into Chuck Liddell's former seat. And as Moneymaker looks on from the stands, we should note Phil has changed into his more familiar uniform than the one he was wearing when he arrived. All right, action continues at this featured table. In the yellow is Jerry Cusick from Denver at his first main event with a fold. Kathleen Gleva is an attorney from Newark, Ohio with pocket fours.
She's a family law attorney, Lana. I think I know her.
She calls for 300. Gil George with ace deuce of clubs. He cashed once already in this year's World Series. He limps in. Donald Hobbs, king 7, into the muck. On to Phil Hellmuth. Despite his 2 final tables this year, he's a little disappointed with his World Series performance. 6-5 offsuit.
All right, I'm going to raise it up.
Raise it up.
1,400 more.
Makes it 1,700 total.
Phil in the big blind, mixing it up early.
Gleva folds. George decides to make the call. Heads up with Phil Hellmuth. Flop is ace, tray 5. George with a pair of aces and a wheel draw. Hellmuth picked up a pair of 5s.
Phil's first main event was in 1988. He was knocked out by Johnny Chan in 33rd place. The following year, he beat Chan heads up for the title.
Hellmuth bets 1,700. George makes the call.
Phil at least looking the way he's supposed to look now.
8 on the turn is no help to Hellmuth, who's way behind.
Yeah, Phil has fallen further behind each step of the way.
He checks. George checks behind him. Now the river card, and that free card pays off for Hellmuth. 2 pair and the check mark.
And he looks at his cards again when he improves, just like Chuck Liddell.
3,800.
3,800.
3,800 to call for George.
Left with a pair of aces, which aren't a winner.
But he pays off, Phil.
5s and 6s.
Well, 6s and 5s.
And that's good enough.
I wins.
Boy, if the shoe were on the other foot in this hand, Lon, we would get a speech.
So Phil Hellmuth takes advantage of that free card and takes the pot.
Now we're playing the game.
Pretty lucky.
Well, if luck weren't involved.
Oh, I deserve a break or two, don't worry.
That was a professional move, not an advanced amateur, right?
I don't make my moves with ace-8. That's the amateurs. The pros make their moves with the 7-8 suiteds and 5-6s. Ace-8 you get yourself in a lot of trouble with.
Well, we still got a speech.
All right, let's go over to table 2, and your guy Phil Ivey, last time we saw him, he was flexing his muscle with a bluff. He's in another hand right now. After the flop, Columba Duffy has tripped jacks. David Clark jacks up. Ivey with a nut flush draw.
Ivey, the youngest ever to win 5 bracelets, but he's never won one in a Hold'em event.
Duffy bet 28-25. Clark folded. Ivey reaching and makes the call. So Ivey with his draw will go heads up against Duffy, a San Francisco contractor with the big lead there. Turn card now is an 8 of spades, and what a card. Duffy hits his full house. Ivey hits the nut flush.
What a disaster card for Team Ivey. I'm on Team Ivey, Lon. This is going to cripple us.
Wow. Duffy will bet it, of course, 23-75. Now to Ivey. The nut flush. What do you do when you're a big pro with a nut flush, Norman?
Well, it's not going anywhere. You get a smooth call or you raise.
Yeah, it is a raise. 9,000. 9,000 total would make it 66-25 to Duffy to call, and he does.
And Duffy, just with that smooth call, you got to like that play from the contractor.
Ivey checking out Duffy's stack. Wondered if he could take the rest of it here. Duffy earns the check mark. Of course, he's got the full house. And he checks it.
We saw Daniel Negreanu go out set against set in an earlier day 1 session. Here, Ivey with a nut flush against a full house, staring at disaster.
Ivey bets enough to put Duffy all in.
What's Duffy waiting for?
Not much. Here he goes. And there is the full house.
Yeah, wait, got the nuts.
Huh?
Got the nuts.
Yeah, I know.
Huh?
I know.
Why are you standing up for?
Why shouldn't it be? I mean, it's something wrong with standing up.
Why are you standing up when you got the nuts, like you're getting ready to leave?
If you're the kings, I don't know. If you're pocket kings, you have me.
Okay.
It wasn't the nuts.
Okay.
Phil in a cranky mood? I don't like that.
Whoa. Never mind. We just look at things differently.
A clearly frustrated Phil Ivey. The nut flush was not good enough, and Duffy takes most of his chips.
The 2008 World Series of Poker, presented by Milwaukee's Best Light. Main event.
Well, if we're in the Rio Poker Room, and it is the main event, and Jerry Yang is kissing a photograph of his family, now you know what that means.
All in.
Okay, gentlemen, the champ is all in.
Oh, he does announcing too now.
Jerry trying to be the first one to go back-to-back in the main event since Johnny Chan.
And a call. Turn them up, gentlemen.
Yes.
Jerry's got it.
Champ survived.
Oh, it's not over yet. Moreau with the straight flush draw.
The champ speaks too soon.
Now the river card.
Okay.
Jerry takes the hand.
You made it. You made it? Yeah. You survived.
He'll stick around a little while longer at least.
Remember, guys, when I kiss my family's picture, I mean business.
It worked well for Jerry in 2007. There is the World Championship bracelet, but that's not all our winner gets this year. On the E-Trade Financial Tournament ticker, you see they get $9.1 million. Jerry Yang won the second largest main event prize in history last year.
The main event was winner-take-all until 1977. 34 entrants that year, and Doyle Brunson won $340,000.
This year's world champion will emerge from a field of 6,844. Phil Hellmuth now with ace-queen offsuit. Limps in for 300. Action over to Grady Talbot. Grady looks down at pocket trays from the small blind. And he limps in. 150 it cost him. 24-year-old Donald Hobbs, who is the same age Phil Hellmuth was when he set the record for youngest main event winner. In a big blind. He'll check his option with 10-4. 3 players see the flop. It is ace 4-10. Hobbs hits 2 pair. Phil Hellmuth hit a pair of aces. Talbot, no improvement to his trays. First to act. He checks it. Hobbs checks his 2 pair.
You know, Hellmuth raises pre-flop. Hobbs ain't around to flop 2 pair. You got to mix up your play. It just backfired there on Phil.
Phil bets 1,000. Talbot folds. Hobbs makes the call. It's up to the turn now. It is another 10 and a full boat for young Hobbs.
Phil Hellmuth now with aces up and drawing all but dead.
Hobbs with a small bet of 700.
That's a tiny bet. That's 700 into a pot of over 3,000.
All right, I call.
Call.
It's nothing for Phil to call with his aces up. And he does. The river card now is a 9, and Hobbs earns the check mark. No improvement to Hellmuth. Hobbs first to act. It's 1,000.
Call.
And a quick call from Phil.
Another tiny bet, just inexperience from Hobbs. I don't think that was a value bet.
Phil shows aces up.
You have to show.
The inexperienced Hobbs finally shows his cards.
3, 10, 10's full of 4.
I got a boat. Full house I got.
Countdown to Hellmuth liftoff. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, maybe a kinder, gentler Phil.
Hobbs will take the pot.
What's going on here?
Good hand, man.
You know Phil's got something on his mind. Spill it, Phil.
Come on, man. I limped in for 300 thinking someone's going to go for the money. What the heck is going on here?
I thought he played better with the riding crop.
So Hobbs with that full house takes a few chips off the former world champ, and as Phil continues to be Phil, let's go to the other Phil. Phil Ivey at table 2, running low on chips and trying to get some back right now. After the flop, Ivey has a gut shot straight draw. Andrew Weber, no, not that one, ace king high, and Columba Duffy ace jack high. Weber checked, action on Duffy.
My guy not in a good mood.
Duffy bets 1,000. That would put Ivey all in, and there he goes.
He's got to go all in on a gut shot. Phil has 3 top 25 finishes this decade in the main event, but he's staring at an early exit. Oh, well, I'm glad you're a bit tired, pal. You'll have plenty of time to rest after this hand.
Weber made the call.
I keep picking Phil Ivey to win the main event. He keeps paying me back by yawning.
Ivey all in. Weber and Duffy with a small side pot. A 4 on the turn, no help to Ivey, but Duffy with a nut flush draw.
And Ivey will need a queen or a jack, or our day is done.
River card is at 10, and that's going to be it. Phil Ivey eliminated. Weber will win both pots, but Phil will take his leave. He was crushed earlier holding the nut flush and goes out here as Weber collects his winnings.
Yeah, go back to the big game and make $500,000. Thanks for coming, Jerome.
The main event just got a little less dangerous for the remaining players. Back inside the Rio, we lost one Iceman, Chuck Liddell, but the other one, Teddy Monroe, still alive in the main event.
The Iceman at the table?
Yeah, the #1 player, baby.
What does that mean, Iceman?
It means
Does that mean like you wear eyes? Does that mean you're cool?
That's 1.
It means you wear a lot of eyes? You got a lot of jewelry?
That's 2.
There's more?
And what else? It's #3 too.
It means you can't be shook?
No.
What's number 3?
I'll freeze you, baby, when I show you my hand.
Speaking of frozen, I'm not sure whether or not Phil Locke can move his facial muscles under that disguise. That is a lot of makeup, but it's not preventing him from collecting some pots.
Actually, he could be Judd Hirsch in the Judd Hirsch story.
Locke's better half, Jennifer Tilly, has one of the most recognizable faces in the room, but there's no smile on it right now. Her all-in has just been called, and her cards come up second best, and she's knocked out.
I'm sure she wants to go tell Phil she's just been knocked out, but I don't think she can find him unless she's looking for Don Amici.
So the main event field continues to get smaller and smaller. Let's get back to the featured table and check on our main man, Phil Hellmuth.
Phil, listening to ABBA.
All right, action at this featured table continues with Kathleen Gleva. The attorney looks at an ace-king offsuit.
By the way, what am I going to do with Phil Ivey? He's the best player, and he's won 1 bracelet in the last 6 World Series. He's making both of us look bad.
Yeah. He was your pick, right?
Yes, he was my pick. Okay, thanks for reminding me.
Jack 10 of diamonds for Gil George. He calls the 900 chip raise that Gleva made.
I should just pick Gil George to win the main event. Who do you got?
I have Kirill Gerasimov, the Russian. Watch out.
Good luck.
Hobbs folded. Hellmuth with pocket queens.
Raise it up. 23.
He makes it 3,200 total. It'd be 2,300 more to Gleva.
Actually, Hellmuth, despite all of our differences, is my second favorite, Phil.
Gleva called, and George will call. So 3 players. Phil leads the way with his pocket queens. Try to get Kathleen and Gil's chips here. Now the flop. 7-9-4. Hellmuth's queens are still good, but Gil picked up flush and straight draws. Gleva missed it. Phil is going to bet 4,500.
Helmuth has changed his style of late.
Biggest bet of the tournament.
He's aggressive and mixing it up early in tournaments more than he used to.
And his big bet forces a fold from Gleva. Action on Gil George now. Straight and flush draws.
Come on, raise it.
And he's going to move all in. 25,500.
The old Phil would lay this down in a heartbeat early on in a tournament before he would risk most of his chips.
Why do I think you have the ace jack of diamonds over there, buddy?
Pretty good read.
And he calls. Phil ahead with his queens against the draws of Gil George.
No, I have queens. I have queens. He called 2,300 more with jack 10.
And if jack 10 beats him, I fear for Gil George.
No kidding. And the whole Rio poker room. And ace is no help to George on the turn.
Helmuth holding on, a 3-1 favorite. George needs an 8 for a straight or a diamond to stay alive.
River card is a 4.
Yes! Yes!
Helmuth wins that big pot. And Gil George has been eliminated. Didn't you pick him?
Oh, jeez, that wasn't official.
Phil was put to the test with George's big bet. Phil rightly trusted his gut, and that is the planter's good instinct moment.
I can win a coin flip too, baby.
My other Phil is happy.
You're on the Helmuth bandwagon now?
I went with my read. What do you want me to do?
Act like a socially adjusted, normal adult.
That deserves a celebration. Come on now. All right, all right.
A Phil with chips is a dangerous Phil.
The Planter's Good Instinct moment is brought to you by Planters. Instinctively good.
Is he bluffing? Could be. German shepherds, huh? I don't trust Germans. 2 cards. Could mean anything. Let's raise the stakes, frighten them off. No one to play with! Darn.
So play online at partypoker.com. It's fun, it's easy, it's the world's largest poker room.
All right, okay.
As the main event field continues to shrink inside the Rio, one of the game's greats is on his way out.
Good luck, guys.
Doyle Brunson, winner of 10 bracelets and 2 main events, has been eliminated.
He is still the standard at age 74, both in quality of play and quality of character.
Doyle's last main event cash came in 2004. And I hope Jerry Yang brought the Dramamine today. He has been up and down and back again. In the hand right now with Las Vegas pro Michael Carroll, who's got 4 previous World Series cashes. Carroll moved all in on Jerry. And Jerry makes the call and loses the hand. So Carroll doubles up through the defending champion. Jerry takes a hit there, and he'll try to keep grinding it out.
And as Jerry Yang knows what a grind this main event is, nearly 7,000 began, and if you survive to day 2, you still have nearly 4,000 players left to beat.
2 new players at our featured table. Jim Ruffalo from Bakersfield, California, owns a couple of McDonald's franchises there. And Kenneth Terrell from Atlanta, Georgia, an attorney turned poker pro. Action on the 89 main event champion Phil Hellmuth on the Milwaukee's Best Light Pocket Cam. Phil has 5 tray of clubs. Phil will limp in for 400. Now Ruffalo, 5 tray of diamonds.
They both have 5 tray long.
Suited.
But not the same suit.
Action over to Kenneth Terrell. Terrell, ace-jack.
Terrell made a final table here at the World Series this year.
He'll call from the small blind for 200. And Donald Hobbs, pocket queens in the big blind. And he's going to move all in his last 3,800. Hellmuth folds his 5 tray.
Yeah, Phil's calling card is patience. He will wait for another spot.
Ruffalo's 5 tray goes into the muck.
Call.
And a call from Terrell. And that will put Hobbs at risk. But Hobbs ahead with his pocket queens against the ace-jack of Terrell.
Hobbs' tournament on the line here against the former attorney from Atlanta.
Good luck, kid. You're back in it if you win.
For 38.25. Well, let's see the flop.
That was fun. You're back in it if you win this pop.
All right, Hobbs at risk. Here's the flop. 9, 9, 10. Hobbs still good with the queens.
Hobbs in great shape. Chris Moneymaker paid his entry into the main event. Moneymaker survived his day one. Hobbs trying to do the same.
Turn card. Oh, the ace, and that's the one card Hobbs did not want to see.
And that will all but end Donald Hobbs' day. He will need a river queen or his main event is over.
River card is a 4, and that's it. Hobbs has been eliminated.
I had to call it. Thank you, man. I've been trying to do this all day. Very good.
Hobbs lived his dream today playing in the main event. We wish him luck. So at the end of the 4th and final day 1 session, some of the biggest names in the game have departed, but many are still in the hunt.
My eyes on the prize, $9 million. That's the goal, and anything less than that will be a disappointment.
Including the newly mild-mannered Havad Khan, the costumed Phil Locke, the surging Phil Hellmuth, and the defending champ Jerry Yang.
The dream survived.
3,629 survived and move on to day 2. For Norman Chad, I'm Lon McCarran. So long from the main event.